So, what do you see ahead here for your business? I mean, in the coming year, what are you doing to expand and reach more people?
Well, so we're talking about right now, we're talking about, and these are all potentials, right? We're talking about website. Um, we're talking about expanding social media. LinkedIn is the only social media platform that I have right now. And before that, I wasn't on social media for 6 years before this. So I've been here a year and a half. I was looking for uh, people that were serious, and when we were talking about life, so all the other social media platforms didn't interest me, but I see that there is an opportunity to expand into other platforms, and so we're discussing expansion in social media platforms, also creating a website, but and we're talking about putting my writing creating a book and putting my story on some pages, um, and possibly a workbook. And so we don't have any right now. Those are just discussions, and we don't have any timeline. But you best believe we will if we become concrete somewhere. So yeah, those are some discussions we're having right now. Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that I was thinking that must have been after you made the decision in your mind like that, and when you went into the bathroom, when you the next day, that must have been really where you started, was how am I spending all my time and what am I doing with my time. I mean, that must have been a really drastic change for you then. Did you reallocate everything, your day, and
Carl, man, it was. Now let me tell you that all sounds fun and encouraging. Yeah, yeah, but it was the hardest thing I've ever done. Like to change everything, to change it all, and I know that sounds so generic, like going into the bathroom and looking in the mirror. Yeah, it does. Yeah, but I still do it today. I still do it today because it worked. And I was affirming myself. I would look at myself, and of course I would affirm myself, but I was also saying, listen, I've drawn a line here and I'm going to stand on this, and I'm a fighter. I'm still alive today, and I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight. I want to be free. I want to be free here. I want to be free here, and I'm going to fight for that today. And so I would say, like I said, I've almost got 7 years in my recovery, and I've probably out of those 7 years missed a total of about a week of doing that. Going to the mirror and looking myself in the mirror and say, I'm going to fight you today. You're worthy. You're worthy. You're appreciated. You're loved. You're cared for. And other people are going to be impacted and influenced by the stand that you take today in their struggles. And when they struggle and they see you struggle and overcome and keep fighting, it is going to encourage and inspire them to do the same thing. So for me, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than us, right? It's bigger than what we do because we never know who's watching. We never know who needs to be inspired, who's looking to change within their struggle and need to see somebody that is struggling through the change but is changing. So it's always the grander scheme. It's always it's always more grandiose than what we think. It's not about us. It's about all of.
welcome to another episode of Define Your Purpose. And joining me today from Kinsey, Tennessee, is Chris Smith. And Chris is a motivational speaker and a recovery coach, health and wellness advocate. Chris, thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Hey, man, I'm glad to be on here, Carl. Thank you for having me today, man. Good morning, everybody.
So I'm interested in, I hear there's a lot to your story. You started out maybe in kind of a rough spot, and that got you into what you're doing now. Maybe you could pick up kind of where you started and what got you going, if maybe if you don't want mind sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So, make a real long story short. Um, I, I was born into poverty. Really, we never had anything growing up. I was exposed to a lot of physical, verbal abuse, some violence, and um, just that drug culture. Grew up in it, and where I grew up, um, it was always real cyclic. People got into trouble, got sent off, and came back and would do the same thing. And so I never seen any change, and I thought the environment that I grew up in and was raised in was just going to be my life, and I took that identity on uh, throughout my adolescent years, teenage years, and even into my adult years. And of course, I got into a lot of trouble as a teenager. Began experimenting with drugs as a at a very young age, and became addicted eventually to what my drugs choices were: crystal meth and opiates. For over 2 decades, which landed me into um, involvement with uh, with the criminal justice system, sent to prison a couple times, different times, and uh, a lot of short stays within our uh, local or county jails, and um, and different treatment centers. I ended up going to 7 different treatment centers, and so that went on from again that went on until the age of 38. I was 38 when I decided to do something completely different with my life, completely different, and really not just make a decision, but also uh, fully commit, fully commit to changing my life. I felt like I was on my last leg, and what I did was I just didn't want, I just did not want off of drugs. That wasn't, I just didn't want out of the environment or the lifestyle that I was living. I wanted to completely transform my life, like completely. And what I did was I just one day wrote down every area of my life that was connected to me that I could think of, and I took a look at it on this board, and I asked myself, where am I healthy at in my life at all? If I am I fit or am I unfit in my life? And I scaled it 1 to 10, 1 to 10. And Carl, let me tell you, every facet of my life was in shambles, bro. Every piece of it. I said, boy, we got some work to do. So so I made a commitment that day, and I went into the bathroom. And mind you, I was at my seventh rehab when I made this decision. Um, I went into the bathroom and I looked in the mirror, and I just said, "Man, I'm gonna fight you from here out. Like, you are holding me back." Me, myself. That's what I was saying to myself in the mirror. You are holding you back. And I'm going to fight you today. And I'm going to fight you for the rest of my life. I'm going to wake up every morning committed to beating the crap out of you. Like this other person, this thing, this other identity that that lying identity, and so that's what I committed to, and I left that room, went into went into the executive director's office and begged him to stay, and he said, "Stay as long as you want." And so I stayed in that treatment center for 2 years, working on getting my life together and just ignoring everything else, just blocking everything else out and I had kids, I had a family, I had friends, and I just had to be by myself on this journey to get my life better. Because if I wasn't, I couldn't be good for anybody else if I wasn't good for me. And so I was completely focused in changing my life. And that was almost 7 years ago. And life looks completely different today.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Just 7 years.
Yeah, 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 just 7 years. You know, um, I like today. Yeah, I co-own a couple uh, businesses. Of course, I went back to college, got my degrees in social work, um, became a personal trainer, um, working on becoming a nutritionist. I believe in whole health. So, uh, as I was telling you, when I was listing those areas of my life, I wanted to give 100% effort into every area, into improving every area, because what I realized was this really wasn't about the drugs that I was using. I was just using them to cope uh, with with the responsibilities that I was running from, with the things that I was trying to avoid. I was just trying to numb. But what I understood, though, once the drugs were removed, that I had a lot of other unhealthy coping mechanisms in my life: TV, social media, uh, sex, binge eating. I was just unhealthy, and I told myself that, okay, if I'm using these same tools here uh, to stay off of these substances, then I can use the same tools to create behavioral change too. I do believe in habits, Carl. I do, but I think habits are produced, and so I think for me, that's third phase. I believe in routine, and I always ask myself, how am I behaving in the routine that I've set down in order to create the habit? And so we can try to. I think a lot of people try to instill habits with the same behaviors, and they always fall off. They always give up because they're trying to force a habit that hasn't been worked on. And so I think we, I think we create routine and excuse me, and then behave accordingly in that routine to ultimately reach a habit. Because a habit is something that you do unconsciously. We get up in the morning, what do? We probably make our bed. We don't even think about it. We just make it. We go brush our teeth, wash our face, or take a shower. We don't even think about it. We just do it. Those are habits. And so I wanted to commit to changing my behavior in the routine to where I don't even think about the habit that I'm doing, because it's become my lifestyle. And that's what I do with people today.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that I was thinking that must have been after you made the decision in your mind like that, and when you went into the bathroom, when you the next day, that must have been really where you started, was how am I spending all my time and what am I doing with my time. I mean, that must have been really drastic change for you then. Did you reallocate everything, your day? And
Carl, man, it was. Now let me tell you that all sounds fun and encouraging. Yeah, yeah, but it was the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, to change everything, to change it all, and I know that sounds so generic, like going into the bathroom and looking in the mirror. Yeah, it does. Yeah. but I still do it today. I still do it today because it worked. And I was affirming myself. I would look at myself, and of course I would affirm myself, but I was also saying, listen, I've drawn a line here, and I'm going to stand on this, and I'm a fighter. I'm still alive today, and I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight. I want to be free. I want to be free here. I want to be free here, and I'm going to fight for that today. And so I would say, like I said, I've almost got 7 years in my recovery, and I've probably out of those 7 years missed a total of about a week of doing that. Going to the mirror and looking myself in the mirror and say, I'm going to fight you today. You're worthy. You're worthy. You're appreciated. You're loved. You're cared for. And other people are going to be impacted and influenced by the stand that you take today in their struggles. And when they struggle and they see you struggle and overcome and keep fighting, it is going to encourage and inspire them to do the same thing. So for me, it's bigger than me. It's bigger than us, right? It's bigger than what we do because we never know who's watching. We never know who needs to be inspired, who's looking to change within their struggle and need to see somebody that is struggling through the change but is changing. So it's always the grander scheme. It's always the greater, it's always more grandiose than what we think. It's not about us, it's about all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Right on. Yeah. I love that. Well put. So, how did your business fall into place then, and get started after you went back to school then, right? And you got your social work degree. So what happened after that? You started. You were still working on yourself at the time, I guess, too.
Yes, yes. So it was crazy because when I was telling you about making that list of all my life areas and they were all in shambles, I didn't know it at the time, but Fit for Recovery was born. Fit for Recovery was born, and um, and mind you, I started back to college. Um, I started back to college while I was in the treatment center. While I was in the treatment center, and so I just started writing like, how can I become fit? How can I become fit in my recovery? And what was needed? What was needed? And so I started creating this packet, workbook, if you will, and I tracked all my stuff. And I would always look back through it, and I started doing it with the clients that were at the rehabilitation facility with me. And we started meeting as groups. We would go out and we would work out. We would exercise for like 20 minutes outside, and then we would do groups right after exercise. I started studying exercise and the benefits of it that it had inwardly, right? And I was like, my gosh, why are people not utilizing exercise more, especially with individuals who have substance and behavioral issues? Why? Because there were so many benefits. And so I just started studying, reading, writing down, just gathering as much information as I could, really self developing, educating myself, and came up with Fit for Recovery. And what Fit for Recovery is, we use fitness as a catalyst into group discussions to talk about uh, sensitive subjects in our life, and we work through it together. And so, but we start inwardly first. So the fit is actually an acronym for frequency, intentionality, time. I believe in order to become fit in our life, we need frequency. How often are we working on ourselves? Intentionality, which is to be fully aware of what we're working on in our life. So deliberate on purpose. Throw those phones out, guys. Throw those phones out. You know, so we limit our distractions or interruptions and time. We schedule, plan, and arrange when that thing should be worked on. So we block time out in our calendar. Literally take a pencil, go get a book, go get a calendar, go get a planner, whatever, and literally write it in. So you see at that particular time in your day or whatever, that is your responsibility in your free time to work on that goal or that thing that you need to improve in your life. And then, so that's fit. And then number four is what I call the four pillars inwardly: spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health. Before we start working externally on those goals that we have in life and that we're trying to attain, we work inwardly on the four pillars of health: spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health. Well, that's where our foundation is at. That's where we establish first. Okay. And we work through those four pillars. Of course, we talk about all four of those pillars of health and then recovery. And I love the SAMHSA working definition of recovery. If it's working, that means it's alive, it's active, it's always progressing, so we're always going like this in our life, right? Up, 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 improving. And so the SAMHSA working definition of recovery is a process of change through which individuals improve their health and their wellness, live self directed lives, and strive to reach their full potential. And so, my favorite, in that definition, some of my favorite really key words there is initially a process. This is progress, not perfection. Okay, so we got to understand that this is going to be a process and it's going to look messy, but the change always looks messy, and that's okay. And so we're going to change together, a process of change to which individuals improve their health and wellness. So this isn't about abstinence, about abstaining from things that have been problematic in our lives. No, no. This is about improvement in all areas of our life, health and wellness. We want to be healthy and we want to live well. Okay. And then live self directed lives. That means we want to get to a point to where we're responsible for our own life and we're setting goals ourselves in our own life, self directed. And then the third part, and strive to reach their full potential. Strive uh, means effort, vigorous effort. How am I doing my due diligence, doing my part in striving? Am I putting forth vigorous effort? 100%. And that 100% could look different from each day because we have life coming at us at 1,000 miles per hour. But the 100% is your 100% for that day, whatever that is, to reach our full potential. Will we ever reach our full potential in this life? I don't think. I think we can always improve and always get better. So we always have something to shoot for. We never stop. We never rest on our laurels or what we know and say, you know what, this is good enough. Again, because somebody always needs to see us struggle in the improvement, struggle in the change, because it may inspire them. And that's why we do it as a group. That's why we do it as a group.
Hmm. Awesome. Awesome. That's great. So, how many groups do you have now? And how many? What's your clientele look like there? And
Well, in person, we have, excuse me, in person, we have about 88 individuals. Um, and counting. We started with three. We started with three, wow, 3 years ago. We started with 3 years ago. Yeah. And what I mean is that because I used to go to treatment centers and do this with uh, the people at at the rehabilitation facilities, and then I opened it up outside of substance use, and I opened it up to the community. And we didn't know what kind of feedback we were going to get, what kind of participation we were going to get. And three individuals showed up, and 3 years ago, and now today in person we're at about 88, almost 90 individuals here in person, three different locations. And online, I can't keep up online. So, and I switched it up online to where we don't do groups, we just do one-on-ones. And with the with that, you get a personal nutritionist, you get a personal trainer. We go through the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical health, like I said, inwardly, uh, to get back to the root causes of why we struggle where we struggle at, you know. And so we want to get to the root of that. And we create over the course of 90 days online, we create over the course of 90 days a individualized plan to where they have access to me and my team 24/7. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And so we wanted to keep it real personal. I understand it's a business, but for me, um, I have to keep it personal. So I have to keep that number down because I want you to grow, and I want you to take your change to the world and help other individuals. And we never go over 12 individuals online, one on one. That's about the number. But and I'm backed out till uh, July, and most of them's been recurring. What's wild is I only had my first year. I've only been on here. I've only been on LinkedIn. Um, wow, year and a half. I've only been on LinkedIn about a year and a half, something like that. And last year, a real slow go. Um, the end of last year, the tail end of last year, I'd say November, we've exploded, and now we have a waiting list, a waiting list um, to get into the program. And so, and I keep it, and I still, if they want to share, if our people want to share what we do, I tell them that's fine, but I'll never share them because I still believe in anonymity. It's on that individual. If they feel led to share what we do, I won't do it. That's on them, and I know there'll come a time when they will, when they will want to share. So, um, yeah. So it's been busy. It's been busy along with the restaurant, along with the gym, along with this. But this is what I asked for. This is what I asked for. You know, and it goes back to fit. It goes back to my fit acronym: frequency, intentionality, and time. So if I understand I can be fully committed everywhere that I'm at if I am being responsible with my time management and staying focused there. I don't want to ever want to hear the excuse that uh, somebody doesn't have enough time. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. How are you managing it? How are you creating space in your day or in your life for the things that you want to do? How are you doing it? Because it can happen. It can work. It can work.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. I believe it. So, but what have been some of the biggest lessons maybe that you've learned since you started working with other people on their issues that maybe you didn't find working on your own stuff?
Well, we're all different, right, Carl? Like, let's say, so if there's an individual, and I use this quite a bit, I had a gentleman, he was my friend. Now this is in person, but it's still transferred online too, though. I had my friend, he's 5'9", he was 320 pounds. Okay. and he wanted to start exercising, and he would come in. Now, for me, coming into the gym, it's part of my life. I love it. I love coming to the gym, man. I love working out. I love pushing myself here, um, getting in better shape, better mindset. But and so that's easy for me. When he comes through those doors, just him stepping in here takes so much guts, takes so much courage, right? I can't comprehend that. Like I can't understand that. But what I can do when I see him walk through these doors and he starts working out and he starts exercising, he starts putting forth that effort into an uncomfortable area of his life, a place in his life where it is really difficult and it's really challenging. It is the mountain or Goliath of a challenge in his life. When he starts coming in here and he shows up every day, man, it ignites a fire within me to look in another uncomfortable area that I'm not putting forth 100% effort into my life, you know. And so when I see people, I think it's so easy to disconnect with people or not have an understanding about people who struggle in that area because you don't. But all we have to do is look at a struggle area in our life and be like, man, that's the devotion and dedication that I need. And so when I see that, it always reminds me that, hey, I can keep doing better and keep evolving and keep growing in that uh, uncomfortable area of my life. And so I'm not just, so the blessing is that I'm not being an example, not only being an example and pushing them here, but they are being an example to me, for me, for me in the areas that I need to continue to push that are scary, that are mountainous. So man, that's the blessing that we all are literally working together in this journey called life, and we can all be that figure of inspiration for one another. One another. Yeah, so it keeps me grounded, Carl. It keeps me grounded and humbled.
Great. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think you can really turn your deepest flaws into your most astonishing triumphs. I think anybody can do that.
Good man, that's a good way of putting it. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, what do you see ahead here for your business? I mean, in the coming year, what are you doing to expand and reach more people?
Well, so we're talking about right now, we're talking about, and these are all potentials, right? We're talking about website. We're talking about expanding social media. LinkedIn is the only social media platform that I have right now. And before that, I wasn't on social media for 6 years before this. So I've been here a year and a half. I was looking for uh, people that were serious, and when we were talking about life, so all the other social media platforms didn't interest me, but I see that there is an opportunity to expand into other platforms, and so we're discussing expansion in social media platforms, also creating a website, but and we're talking about putting my writing creating a book and putting my story on some pages, um, and possibly a workbook. And so we don't have any right now. Those are just discussions, and we don't have any timeline. But you best believe we will if we become concrete somewhere. So yeah, those are some discussions we're having right now. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. There's so much need down there right now. I mean, in rural America, I think with the drug problem and all the way it is, Um, I mean, is that who you're trying to reach the most with your with what you're doing in your work now?
Well, again, I think we're all connected, and I think we all have addictions, right? I think we all have problematic areas that we just try to, and responsibilities that we ignore. Most of them, most of us, is health. And so we have behavioral patterns in our physical health. And so I love highlighting individuals that have substance use disorders, um, helping those individuals with that have substance use disorders and mental health disorders. But I believe this expands into people that just need behavioral change and physical health. We know that heart disease is the number one killer, and in our country, in the United States, and 90% of our country, of the US, are metabolically unhealthy. And that's because they live sedentary lifestyles. We see the landscape of of our physical health changing. Um, we're more tired. We're not active. We're not moving, which leads to mental health disorders, burnout, anxiety, um, and just not any movement at all. And so I want to bring Fit for Recovery. It's for anyone, but it's not for everyone. And so we can use the same tools that individuals with substance use disorders use to recover. Um, we can use those and transition those to other individuals that are having behavioral issues or with problematic areas that they need to improve, mainly their physical health, which leads to poor mental health, which leads to, just almost no activity in their life. And I want to get them back on a path to where they have energy to just just go and attain those goals that they have set on the sideline because they don't think they have enough time or enough energy. Yes, so it's for everyone. It's for everyone that's experiencing spiritual, mental, emotional, or physical distress. And I want to help you. I want to help you improve that. I want to help you. I want to help you understand that you've got a lot more life to live, and you've got a lot more energy within you that you've not tapped into yet. That you can deploy in those other areas of life that you want to improve and live the best freaking life that you could possibly live, so you could pass that hope and inspire others to do the same. That's it. That's it. And I'm going to deliver that if you commit to that. That's it. I'll deliver that to you if you commit to receiving it and going all in. Our Fit for Recovery motto is go all in to get it all out. Go all in, every bit of you in every facet of life to get it all out. What are we trying to get all out? All the garbage from inside, but also everything in this life that life has to offer us at the same time. At the same time.
Right on. Awesome. Right on. Yeah, I think it's so needed in our country right now too. You know, we have this obesity epidemic and all this sedentary lifestyle, and it seems like when you go see a medical professional, exercise is never an answer. It's always you need these pills. And
Carl, do not get me started on that. Don't you get me started on that, Carl. Yeah, so that's and it's never cured. It's always managed. They give us stuff to manage, never cure, right? Yeah, and so and of course, yeah, they want you to come back. It's how they get paid. You know, and I'm not dismissing medical advice, medical attention. I believe we need it. That's not, but there's a lot of things in our life that if we do, taking preventative measures uh, and evidence-based approaches that show great results, successful results, without the use of going to a doctor or medication, then we need to be doing that. but we rely so much on something else instead of ourselves. And I want you to see, and this is self-directed. The back to the Sam show, working definition, self-directed. That means responsible for our lives and setting goals in it to attain it. And so I want to help you to create more energy that you have that energy into improving your life, yourself. Is it a long road? Yeah, 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 it is. It is, and I think progress is painful. Initially, I think it's painful initially until it becomes lifestyle change, and when it becomes lifestyle change, and we get to that habit forming phase, again, you don't even think about it. When we're walking in our habits, that means we're unconsciously being responsible or unconsciously doing the things that are improving our lives. Yeah. So I want to help you get there. That's where I want to help you get.
That's the best. I love that. So if someone wants to get more information and maybe work with you, I guess maybe their best place to find you is on your website or obviously on LinkedIn.
Yes, on LinkedIn. That's the only place we're at right now. If we continue to grow at the pace we're growing, so we will definitely expand a lot more quickly. Um, and so, again, the turnover from last year. Um, or from early last year until now has been ridiculous. And I think people are looking for a balance of truth, push into your feelings, truth, but compassion for that person as well. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have you upset and angry at me, but also very, very appreciative. And you're going to see the love that I have for you into changing your life.
Wow. Wow. Awesome. Awesome. That's great, Chris. Awesome. So, I really appreciate you taking the time today and speaking with me. I hope we can follow up again soon. I'm probably gonna be having more events and more podcasts, so hopefully you'll be able to be a guest again.
Absolutely, man. I really appreciate you, Carl. I appreciate taking the time out of your day as well, us getting together. And I believe it's all about promoting good health and promoting one another or building one another up to be the best versions of ourselves. So thank you for doing what you do as well, Carl. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. All right. Well, hopefully we can stay in touch and help each other grow.
Absolutely, man. Let's do it. Let's do it, man.